Selfish demonstrators from Just Stop Oil were causing havoc on West London's streets this morning, even blocking a fire engine heading to an emergency. Police managed to open up one lane to let it pass, and the group say it was able to get through. An ambulance caught up in the chaos, though, was forced to reverse and find a different route. The Prime Minister's spokesperson says the protests are unacceptable. Several motorists took matters into their own hands, either dragging protesters from the road or trying, without much luck, to reason with them.
I don't give a flying about your television.
You sit there like a bunch of lemons.
Somebody's sick. Get off the road, let her through, and then get back on the road. Somebody is unwell. Are you guys silly?
If somebody's sick, they shouldn't be driving.
No, they've got a passenger in there who's sick. Are you guys silly? You guys haven't got a clue what you're doing.
And that's just putting it lightly, really. The direct action, well, does it have to be stopped? I would say yes. I would say this is about time that we start to look at protests like this and say direct action is no longer acceptable in this shape and form, particularly when we're talking about disrupting, not just disrupting the lives because it's kind of inconvenient, but actually disrupting lives with medical emergencies and with the cost of living crisis and people wanting to get on with their lives and their jobs and everything else. And look, I do understand that they have a view that I happen not to share. But when they start to compare all of their actions, saying, yes, but look at direct action in the past, it was so important for suffragettes or for racism campaigners and all those sorts of things, those people didn't have a vote. Those people didn't have the ability to be able to express themselves in a democratic society. And I think we now need to take action ourselves to say, if you want to bring something to the fore, by all means, I don't want to stop discussion. I don't want to stop people putting alternative views. We live in a democracy. I think it's really important that we get to that place where we can have a proper discussion. And sure, I'm sure there are some messages that they give that might be helpful or handy, but please not like this.
Let's just cut to the chase. What they did, I thought, was outrageous. They have no regard for public safety. People's lives were in danger. We talked about this last night. Someone is going to get very seriously hurt or injured or killed
of course,
as a result of people who... I just think they're such religious zealots. They can't see past the fact that they want to protest against climate change, which is fine, but not in this way.
Yeah, I agree. It's not in this way, though.
No, while I agree with people's right to protest, definitely,
As do I.
and I think that's something that should be preserved, I don't think this is the way to do it because they keep having to do it again and again, but actually you're alienating the very people who you should have on side.
Yep.
Now, I hate to sound like a traditionalist, but what you actually need to do is get yourself on a ballot paper and get people to vote for you and put your opinions and
put your money where your mouth is.
Right in the proper way. And yes, that will take a while, but doing this in this kind of way doesn't work.
I agree, and there's also a problem as well. I mean, just sort of this extraordinary lack of reaction from the police, and I don't know. You know, we've seen it. I don't know. We've seen it in the past when there were a group of people who they sat there and there's a group of protesters had glued their genitals to the M25 or something, and they were stuck there. And the police are going around saying, you know, would you like a cup of tea?
Can I rub something on that to soothe the pain?
But this is preposterous. But I was just going to say, James, just to finish that point, is that in France, did you see the footage in France? What they did, they simply went up to these guys whose hands were, you know, glued to the tarmac, or supposedly, and they just pulled up their hands. One lad shouting, "Mama, Mama." It's like, well, yeah, you can ask for your mum, mate, but it's a bit too late. You can't.
I think
you just can't block roads.
The problem is, as well,
is that when you get away with it, Penny.
Well, I mean, you can, and it seems you can get away with it. But what I would say is that you've got all those buses were there. Now, the whole thing is that surely we're supposed to be going on to public transport. That actually uses less CO2, although you could argue depends on how old the bus is and all the rest of it. And you've got the, you know, so many of the vehicles that are being stopped. They're electric vehicles. I mean, what do they want? Do they want everybody to go on by bicycle and horse?
Yes, that's exactly what they want.
What they're saying, though, is that, you see, oil is used in so many different ways to make stuff, to use stuff, and they simply dislike oil and gas. And if that's their view, and as you say, it's almost become religious, the way that they operate, I have to say, we have to change the way that we police this. And also, if you're going to cause criminal damage, you must pay and, by the way, be locked up. I'm sorry, we've done enough of this nicey-nicey policing. It's time to take action, and it's time to say, if you, and I agree with you, Afir, if you are going to protest, if you want us to listen, then do it in a way that makes sense to us. If you're going to hold us up, then, you know what, get out of our way. I'm not interested.
Just very quickly, last night I said that obstructing a public highway was illegal, and then Daisy trumped me, and I bowed to her superior knowledge. Actually, they have toughened the law. It received royal assent in April of this year, and I think it means they can put far stricter sort of sanctions on these protesters, and that's really important going forward.
Let's get on with it. They're so distracted by doing useless things in the government that they've forgotten that they need to take action.